Hi, welcome everyone. This is Copywriting Clinic number 18. And today we're going to be, Agnieszka is going to be teaching us, giving us some wisdom on deliverability. I'm really excited for that. For anyone new joining us, Copywriting Clinic we do once a week, and this is the chance to learn and practice different forms of copywriting. We do, for any new students coming in, I just kind of want to reiterate, we do have a prerequisite. Encourage everyone to please go back and listen to Copywriting Clinic number 1 when you get time. That's kind of like our prerequisite to actively participate. So, you know, we have sessions like today, which is gonna, we'll probably get a little more interactive later on, but it's gonna be a little bit more teaching and soapboxing for a little while. Then we have other sessions where we're really interactive, where this is your chance to like bring what you're working on and we can give feedback, work together as a group. So we just ask that to, again, actively participate, just to go back and watch that clinic number 1. It gives a nice broad overview of all the different areas of copywriting and just gives some of that foundational knowledge that is really necessary to engage.
And also, if you want to see everybody's shenanigans, you might want to watch it on gallery view, and that way you can see multiple videos at the same time, as opposed to just one. Indeed. So, do I start? Am I ready?
Sure, let's do it. Do you want me to put up, like, share my screen with your outline?
Everybody got the outline? Most people? Or Ludwig didn't? Oh yeah, I put a link to the outline in the chat. So if people are more visuals, but it's a very basic outline and I'll just be going over it. It's more, this thing image that I sent you guys, it's more like a reminder. Like you can use it when you're writing emails, just to make sure you remember all the things you have to think about before creating an email. But before I start about this, let's ask you guys, what is email deliverability?
Is it me or the thing sideways?
Is
there a way I can do that?
You can just open it and straighten it out. It's Discord that flipped it. It was right side up before I sent it to Discord, I think. Or maybe it was sideways always.
I rotated it, and so I mean I could share my screen and put it up if you want.
Thank you.
It's all good. It's not that informative, honestly. It's like just a few words on a page. And all the words of colors have a U in them. That's because I'm in Canada.
We won't judge you.
For being right. Anyway, what is email deliverability? Who can tell me what email deliverability is? Who can pronounce the word?
I'm going to take
deliverability.
Yes.
And?
Email deliverability is the ability to make as clear and as concisely as possible what this person can gain from reading this email.
How about delivering the value that you're trying to get across in this message?
I kind of like that. I'm going to add it to my little thing, value. Because value is very important. Value is, so deliverability can cut through different ways, right? There is the spam bot. That's why that section on the right is entitled bots. The spam bots are the mechanical judges of email that stand between you and the customer receiving the email. So that is, it's all a robot, it's all mechanical, it's nothing you can control. And most of the time, we don't even know what the criteria are that these robots are using to judge the email. We know some criteria, but we don't know all of the criteria, and they keep it that way. Just like that story with Twitter, somebody being banned from Twitter recently last month, and then them asking Twitter, why did I, like, what is the specific thing I broke? And Twitter told them that they couldn't tell him the rules that he broke, because if they told him, he would be able to skirt the rules. Therefore, he's just banned and there's no repercussions. By the way, I'm no longer banned on Facebook. I currently have 2 accounts. Don't know why they didn't email me. The way I found out is by it being a suggestion on my friends list. Anyway, so spam bots is one thing. And then human psychology, the section about people on the left-hand side, that's also something that you need to consider, right? because human psychology is what Michael was talking about, delivering value, right? Actually, because it doesn't matter if you stand on top of the mountain and scream at the top of your lungs the deepest truth in the world, if nobody can speak your language, if nobody can understand your message, right? It's not really going to matter. If you break one of these rules, you can get mad with the fact that there are robots reading your email, and you can say, I'm going to break the rule, and that's fine. You can break the rule, but then your email will be in spam and nobody will read it. And so good that you wrote that email. It had very important information in it. Sadly, no one will read it. So let's just remember both the spam bots and the human needs. Okay, so from the top, when my customers say we're having deliverability problems, the first place I go is MX Toolbox, because that is the most mechanical way of checking the email address. Now, we've had some issues with MX Toolbox trying to clear all the warnings, because it's easy to clear the errors in MX Toolbox, usually what happens. Let me share my screen, or you share your screen, or I share my screen.
There you go.
All right, hang on a second. Let me just open up the. I can do this, really. Screen 2, yes, because I wanted to be able to share the whole thing. Okay, so this is MX Toolbox. You can type in anything you want. I don't know, what should we check? If I spelled it right. Okay, so truthconduit.com, we might know that person. I just checked it. And so what do we have here? We see that there are 2 errors against 3 errors against this person. Now that HTTP error, hi Zed, bless you. Yes, you were unmuted, but that's all right. So there's three errors, DMARC record. So that's something that both Eric and Eric can fix for Chris if he really needs to, or probably Ferdinand. But it's basically something where you have to go into the cPanel and you have to authenticate the website with the email provider or something like that. So that way, when the spam bots will check, they check for that. Now, if we switch to mail server, because these problems we were looking at, these are just website problems, right? So how legitimate is Chris's website? All of these DMARC errors will go away once he fixes DMARC. The SOA refresh value, I have no idea what that is. I haven't seen that before. So that maybe have somebody smarter than me would have to examine.
It's a serial number. It's a false error.
It's a false error. All right,
There's
for
no
a serial
standard, so
number.
therefore the serial number changes.
Right.
In format.
But I think that if we clear the DMARC, a lot of these issues will go away. But this way, some of his emails may end up in spam if he's not in that person's mailing list because of this. Chris, are you listening? Are you hearing this? Macmillan?
Yeah, I'm here.
Cool. Because I'm testing your website on this, right?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So in here, the main error is the test failed for the DMARC. So that's what we want to see. That's what we want to see fixed. And like I said, I don't actually personally fix it. I've seen the back end of it a couple of times. It's a cPanel thing where you take something from the mailer.
The text entry.
Text entry.
And we have a lot of very skilled, smart people in this community that could help us with this.
Right. So, but this is really important because this is one of the most key things that we have to look at. Now, also MX Toolbox has this cool little thing, Delivery Center, where they remind you about all of the things you have to remember for deliverability. But unfortunately, most of the things on my list are not on this list, right? But all of the mechanical things are on this list, right? And so they will tell you about DMARC deployment. They can even give you probably enough information for you to fix it yourself if you so desire. If you know what I mean. The DKIM is also important, configuration and all of that stuff. And so one of the main things, so you can look at this thing anytime. You don't need me for that. Maybe I'll stop sharing. No,
It's really cool seeing that, though. I did not know anything about that website, so I'm definitely going to be checking some domains on that.
Make sure you charge people for that. Like when you're like, Sally, let me check your reputation. Don't do that. Say, Sally, if you'd like, for a fee, I can check your reputation. Because I used to do it for free all the time. And then I realized that was bullshit. Because I know this because it's my profession, and Sally doesn't know it because it's not her profession. And it's just like the plumber, you know, when the plumber fixes your thing in 3 seconds and then he wants $100. Why does the plumber want $100? Well, it's $1 for knocking the hammer in the right spot, but it's $99 for knowing where to knock the hammer.
Right, because, you know, it's one thing to acknowledge that there's a problem, but that's only part of it. Then there's actually taking steps to remedy the problem. Cool.
Okay, so that's the MX toolbox part. That's an important part, but that's not half of it. Then we're going on the bot side first, not just because, I don't know why. Let's go on the bot side first. So, because we're already in the bot land with the DMARC and all of that. Organic list. What does it mean to have an organic list? People scrape lists. Scraping means going to LinkedIn or going on websites and pulling email addresses and putting them in a list and importing them into a mailer and pretending it's your mailing list. You can do that. It's a risky business. Basically, if you say you send an email to 100 people and 10 of them say that they didn't want the email, that can get your account shut down. It's a, you know, actually no, one of them, because it's a 1%. 1% is the thing. So with scraped lists, with bot lists, there's a huge percentage of error. There are ways to go around it. You can get a different website, like a similar website, but different. You can get a different email address, and then you can send an email to a bot list from a mailer that looks like totally separate from your actual business. But inside the email, there's a link to a form that'll get them into your actual system. You can do it that way, and that way you're faking organic list, because the people on your actual system are actually organic. It's this one that's breaking the rules, right? It's the other system. But you have to make sure that it's completely separate from your thing, because otherwise it will, you know, like it still has to have a web presence. And you can even authenticate that website with that mailer. And if it has bad reputation, then you just shut it down. But say for the people who buy 200,000 names or whatever, that's the only way not to sully their own reputation for their own thing, just to have it completely separate and have those people log in on their own if they're interested in that service. Buying lists, you can buy lists from various places in Asia. It's a horrible idea because, again, those people will be either useless or angry. And I will talk about why useless people are dangerous to your reputation in a minute. And then bounced. You have to make sure you clear your bounces, because otherwise, some systems clear bounces automatically. Like they'll just remove bounces so that they won't send to somebody who's bounced twice, let's say. But some systems you actually have to clear the bounces from in order to maintain your list health. And so when it comes to lists, basically what you want is you want there to be a form, and you want the person to, from their own volition, for whatever, you want to give the reason that is so compelling that the person will be eager to give you their email address, and put it in themselves. That's the most important thing, put it in themselves. Now you can of course fake it. You can put it their email address, pretend you're them and fill out the form, but that's not going to help you when they come to reporting you or flagging your email. You know what I mean? So if you fake the double, and then double opt-in is even worse, because not only entering them, but then they have to actually click on a link from you in order to double opt-in. And that's a healthy list, when the people want your shit so bad, want your lead magnet or whatever, they want it so bad that not only are they going to give you the email address, but they're also going to click on that on that link, the confirmation link in the email. And then all the spam bots know that that person is really engaged. Now, what can happen, and I'm switching sides a little bit because I forgot to write the name, is you see that on the left side where it says current list 90 days spam trap? Spam trap is something that Google apparently came up with. And so say I have a junk email list. Say I never look up, like I have emails that I never open. Anybody who sends me an email to that dead account that I never opened, that I used for spam, is marked as a spammer because I put them as spam. So, and that's what a spam trap is. A spam trap is if the email hasn't been checked in 90 days and you email that email that hasn't been checked in 90 days, you are labeled as a spammer. So that means it's totally ass backwards, of course, it's totally ass backwards, but apparently that's what they're doing. So that means that if you have people on your mailing list for 90 days and they haven't engaged, they haven't clicked, they haven't responded, you have to remove them. Otherwise, you might fall into the spam trap. So that means that engagement, responsiveness, and all of that has become even more important now than it has ever been before. And you guys can look up spam trap, and it's an actual thing. And it actually, you know, like I just didn't know about it until the other day when I was talking to that Infusionsoft guy. Like they always said 90 days, but there was never an actual explanation of why 90 days is important. And when this guy explained to me that spam trap and how it's the person emailing that gets punished for the other person not checking their email. Totally messed up. Totally messed up. And just like I always say about Google, not good for business. Google does not want small businesses to succeed. It's seriously like all of the rules and everything that they're putting in and piling on, it's just making it more and more difficult for small business to actually succeed. I'm just saying. So what can we do inside emails to keep the robots happy? Red font is considered spammy. Now I think that just means the bright red font. I have occasionally used the dark red burgundy font in some emails, but not usual because it is considered both spammy by the robots and by the humans. So on both sides of the equation, red font is not really considered, like it's like really in your face, right? And then the one thing that I looked up when preparing for this webinar, which I didn't remember, I never thought of doing this because it seems pointless, but apparently white on white, invisible writing is also considered a spam trigger. So no idea why. Why would anybody put white on white in an email that nobody can read? Very strange, but okay, it's a spam thing. Writing, yeah?
I think that was an old trick to improve the rankings, something to do with keywords or something. I remember seeing that somewhere, but it had something to do with SEO, but I think has since been downgraded because they've caught on to it.
Yeah. So same thing with all caps, you know, writing a sentence with all caps. I think you could get away with one word in all caps, but not a whole sentence. Or no caps in the subject. Absolutely no caps in the subject. That's really bad. Exclamation points, too many exclamation points, like 4 or 6, can also be a spam trigger.
Sorry, Agnieszka, when you say no caps in the subject line, do you mean no capitalized words or no words that are all capped?
The second one.
Okay. All
caps. That's why it says all caps on your little handy reference sheet. And then the other thing was video, Flash, and Java. Embedding that in email doesn't work very well. Most of the time doesn't work for certain recipients, certain mailers, but also it can be a spam trigger. So video, it belongs on the landing page. Now there are many reasons. Like all you have to do is give a reason that's compelling enough as close to the top of the email as possible that will make them click the link. And as soon as they click the link, you have no limitations. You can use any words. You don't have to stop yourself from using certain words or certain expressions or putting certain simple words like click here now together in a string and be flagged, red flagged, right? I just lost my train of thought. So yes, do landing
Making a
pages.
compelling message that gets them to want to click the link.
Right. Don't embed forms. Sorry. You're just totally distracting me. What are you doing?
I'm moving and breathing. Sorry.
You're
I'm
standing
I
there
just
staring at
reflect
me. Anyway, attachments, no attachments. You can't even add attachments to things. But again, attachments can be uploaded to your website. A link can be created. And if you really want to do attachments in an email, you can just do the link that goes directly to the PDF. You don't have to do a landing page if you don't want to. That said, I mean, that can only be used judiciously sometimes, but not other times. Because, usually what you would want is for a PDF to be put behind a paywall. If they're paying with money or email address, either way, it's still a paywall. But if you're trying to keep engagement high and the people are already on your mailing list and all you want them is to engage, you might just give them the thing without a paywall. You know what I mean? You don't. But then some people say that if they forward the email, it's better to have a form so that their friends would actually give you the email address when they use the thing. Spam trigger words. We've covered spam trigger words extensively in these copywriting clinics. I'm sure everybody has the link to the 455 spam trigger words. And
we'll put it in the chat just in case.
Fine, we'll put it in the chat just in case. I can do it.
Thank you, Agnieszka.
And I know it says 2018 and 2019, but I swear these words have been updated this year because I've seen differences because I use this all the time. And I still think that this is one of the most comprehensive lists of what could possibly cause you spam triggers out there. Most of the other lists I've seen are less full. And even the label, May 19th, 10-minute read, I don't know. It's been updated. Anyway, it's good. If you can find a better spam trigger list, let me know. But it's like if you look at these, some of them, it's effective. You can say effective and you can say but it's effective together. So you can say it's one of the most effective things, and it's no longer a spam trigger, right? Any of these sentences double your cash. You can say, make your cash work for me. Oh, you can't use the word cash. So don't even use any money words in an email. Make your stuff work twice or whatever. You have to come up with a way that goes around it so that it's not that specific sentence, because it's not a toggle switch. It's not like, oh, you're going to use one of these in your email and then your email reputation is going to go to shit. Not at all. One of them, it's an algorithm, right? So these are just incremental changes, right? But how many increments do you want to have? Every increment brings you closer. So lack of engagement, sending people who haven't checked their email for 90 days, too many images, every single thing is like an incremental addition. So that's why using as few as possible of these words is good, because it eliminates those increments, right? And what we want to do is make as few incremental negative increments as possible. You're never going to eliminate them all, and you're never going to probably not use most of it. You know what I mean? You're still going to use some of these words, but just try not to. And certainly not the big ones. I mean, and by the big ones, if you're not sure what I mean by the big ones, you can check some other spam trigger word lists, which probably only have the big ones. But anyway, anything that sounds like spammy, anything that you've seen in an email from India or from like a Ethiopian prince, most of those kind of typical expressions would be spam triggers, right? Yes, Michael.
What are the columns, the different columns? So the words on the left are the words you don't want to use?
No, all of those are words you don't want to
all
use.
of them? Okay.
All of them.
Thank you.
All of them. So, well, you want to avoid using them. Let's put it that way. Oh yeah, and no more than 3 images. Unless you have a really good reputation already, like Michael's, for example, they can put as many images in their emails as they want, because everybody always opens their emails. So their emails, like reputation, like spam bots love people like that. right? But for starting out, if you put like, you know, more images than writing, or if it's like just really image heavy, then that's considered spam.
What would be your opinion of like our autonomy newsletters? Those have definitely had more than
But
like
think
3+
about autonomy.
images.
It's already been emailing people for a year and a half. It's got a healthy spam thing. You know what I mean? Like it's a healthy system, right? It's not somebody just starting out from nothing. Right?
Gotcha.
So,
cool.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal, especially since most of the autonomy emails have only 1 or 0 images. And then every now and then we have a heavy one. So, yes,
So
Luke.
you said the videos are bad. That means that Loom video is not okay too?
Well, videos are good. It's just you don't want to embed the video inside the email. What you want to do is link to the video. You don't want to try to make the video as part of the email, like with code.
Okay.
You can link to your video
so
all you want. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, putting your Loom link is fine.
Link is fine. It's just, you know how people actually put the video to actually go with the code of the email inside the email code. You don't want to do that. That's what I'm talking about. It's very techy. But when it comes to video, short video versus long video, we can have that discussion another time. And I don't mind talking about that one day because there are considerations and different opinions. But let's go back to the email deliverability. So before I move into the people, I just want to reiterate that the bottom left thing, 2 eyes opt-in is good. You want people to double opt-in. Whatever you're doing, however you're doing it, you want to give them a compelling reason. So how do you do that? How do you get people on your mailing list first? Well, the easiest way of getting people on your mailing list is to offer them something that they already want and that they're willing to pay for with their email, because email is a form of currency these days, right? So when you get their email, then you have a chance to continue to sell to them, right? It's almost like putting your business on their street. And so when they double opt-in, it's a healthy relationship. They want you and you want them, and then you can continue to sell to them in a way that's compelling and keeps their attention. So we're not doing very well for time with the examining the emails, but let's just quickly talk about people. People don't like things that break their trust. And that's what Copywriting Clinic #1 talks about, breaking trust, right? So too many colors, bright colors, sounding like a company, sounding like a corporation, or using spelling errors, especially the kind of spelling errors that are like Oriental, right? Using North American spelling errors is more forgivable than Oriental spelling errors. And actually, it's an interesting thing because in that email I did really well yesterday, I used awkward phrasing on purpose. My client wrote something, "I'm looking forward to your feedback," or "I'd like to hear a little bit of your feedback." And it's kind of weird. Like, I would like to hear a little bit of your feedback. It's not quite normal. It's like, I'd like to hear from you, or something like that would be normal. And so, but it was awkward phrasing. And I thought, that makes it sound more personal. Like he just wrote it, like out of his head. And so I left it. And then that's what got us the 33% open rate and the 14. Because he was like, and the way I used that in that email, I said, "Hey, I just wanted a little bit, I'm just reaching out to a few people on our list. I just want a little bit of your help. Brian asked me to check into this. I like to hear a little bit of your feedback. Here's a link, click it and answer my questions." And a whole bunch of people answered these questions from a dead list that hasn't been emailed for like a year. So that's awesome. But it was really personal. And also every time they click, right, their reputation goes up. So the list becomes less dead with every single engagement. And that's why I suggested that they put "Brian asked me to do it," because that like really tugs on your heartstrings, like, oh, this boss, right? Because most of the previous emails were from Brian. So the boss asked me to, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's a really psychologically engaging kind of way of doing it. So do we want to throw up an email and see what we can do with it? Are there any questions from the audience?
I'll just make a statement that this is very valuable. You have definitely demonstrated serious value
Thank you.
already. Thank you.
All right, I've got one up from Michael. I can share.
All right, mine, by the way, is what Agnieszka asked me to do. So this is what you asked me to do, Agnieszka. I did an editorial and I did my lead magnet. And then I also kind of broke down the.
Okay, so let's just worry about the editorial for now because this is an email clinic. Is Vivo Inteligente a subject for you? The subject, is that the subject?
That's kind of the name of the newsletter / journal.
Name, or so that's the title of the newsletter, or that's the email subject?
Well, this is for the editorial. I don't know.
Well, so what you want to do is you want to create a newsletter, right? And the editorial piece that I asked you to write is the piece that goes at the front, at the top of the newsletter before you share the items, right?
Okay.
And so this is for the Agora Society in Acapulco. Is that what it is for? Or for
Yes, yeah.
all
Anarchapulco.
Oh, so this is for everybody who has been involved in Anarchapulco in the past, right?
Yeah.
Or the fans and whatever. Okay. So do those people speak Spanish?
No.
Okay.
For the most part, no.
Okay. So Vivo Inteligente, I would make it maybe part of my banner, but or part of the title, but I wouldn't necessarily make it a subject, because in subject you have 2 seconds to get their attention. And if you say 2 weird words that don't belong in their language, they're going to be all like overwhelmed and run away.
Okay.
So leave fear behind, maybe an interesting root of the subject. But if this is a newsletter for an Acapulco to get them to maybe come to the next event, which is in February, right? What is the one subject? What is the subject that really speaks to that crowd? Who here is an anarchist?
Freedom.
Freedom. So something about freedom, not fear.
Okay. How about be aware of freedom? Your potential freedom? Be aware of your potential freedom?
Well, but isn't that a little bit talking down to them? Because if they're already anarchists, they're already aware of freedom. The first line, so Lisa says that the first line maybe would go better in the middle. That could be possibly true. But at the same time, the key here is to come up with a subject that's going to be compelling enough for them to click. And then
How about the first line of my editorial? Dude, I've got some very good news. How about that one?
That's not bad. For the first line of the email, that's not bad. Because, okay, so like seriously, who here is an anarchist? If you were to open this email, what would that feel like? If the first line of the email was, dude, I've got very good news. It gets better every day. Would you keep reading? Okay, even the people who don't consider themselves anarchists, freedom-minded, voluntarists. I don't know, I'm not into labels personally, but.
I don't know, might be a little too general.
Too general?
Then again, these days, I feel like I might just open that just because I could use a piece of good news.
Oh, yeah, but that's the first line. You've already opened it theoretically because the subject was compelling enough for you to open it.
Oh, okay.
So
I thought you were toying with having that as a subject.
Well, I think the subject would be something like embrace freedom, leave fear behind, or something like that.
Oh, that's
You're talking because you're muted. Sorry, Ludwig.
I think that one's better. It makes more sense. It's not as clickbaity in my opinion.
For the first line or for the subject?
For the subject, but what do I know? I'm learning here.
That's good. Every opinion is important.
I have a question. What about directives like get your freedom back?
So the word get is in spam trigger because everybody else wants to get stuff anyway. Get your freedom back could be a good line. But the thing is, like, if you think about the American audience and them facing this election and being very uncertain and stuff, that may be a little bit too polarizing at this time. Maybe in 6 months ago or in 6 months, maybe more effective. But right now, because we're on the brink of the election, and this is for Americans, right? So get your freedom back would be a little bit hard, I think, for them right now. What do you guys think? Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, it's possible or likely even.
I think those little technicalities are really interesting. I never thought it would be this interesting.
Thanks. Yeah, because you have to think, I was writing stuff for the Danish market last week, and I had to really like feel the Danish people, because and one thing, I wanted to do a lot of hero wording, and my client keeps saying, no, Danish people don't care about hero. They don't care about heroes. It's an American thing. So in America, we can say, be the hero of your company. In Denmark, we cannot say, be the hero. Right? So there's all these weird psychological things all throughout the world, right? It's weird.
There's a couple of good suggestions going on in the chat. There's, dude, where's our beautiful anarchy? Dude, where's your freedom? I like that one. Dude,
I wonder if the word anarchy in the subject would get you spam triggered, but I still would like to try it. I think it's an interesting try. Dude, where is our beautiful anarchy?
Yeah, it won't be long before the word freedom gets you axed.
Illegal soon, yeah.
But then also we have to remember that part of people on Michael's list are like these little old ladies. Do they really, would they respond to dude?
Dude.
I would say
Probably not.
80% of the community is male.
Okay. So that could land.
Yeah, that could totally land. And we could even do A/B testing with that. Like with these subjects, that would be a very good, because A/B testing is usually fairly limited. But like, you know, I tried to do it 2 different days, the same email, and I couldn't do it as an A/B test. Like to put the results in one page. I thought that was silly. But anyway, but they let me do 2 different subjects. So, and different content. But yeah. And so then, but then if our subject is dude, where's your freedom? The first line should be, despite of what you've been told, it gets better every day, or something like that. Because I think, well, I know that's what Michael's trying to say there anyway. But, you know, there's a lot of fear mongering going on in the States, especially because the election is looming. So a lot of doom and gloom. People are like really oppressed, like television and all of that is just really pressing hard. You know, even in Canada, we feel the push of the election. And so that may be a good first line. That might grab their attention, because all you want is the 2 seconds, right? All you care about is the first 2 seconds. They open the email, you have 2 seconds. If the first line is shit or says, hello, Sally, I would like to, you know, that's it. That's all you got. That's how far Sally's getting, right? So you have to do something a lot more compelling than, hello, Sally.
Allow me to
And again,
introduce myself. I am from Nigeria, and my boss needs some money very quickly. If it pleases you, sir, would you please send me your bank details?
You forgot the dear sir or madam at the top.
And the prince. You had to say, I'm a prince from Nigeria.
I've been getting these ones that say, somebody died and they left a large inheritance, unfortunately stuck at the bank, but I have the same last name, so I could retrieve it. So amazing. Signing up right now.
I have a question.
Yes.
Isn't it making it hard for them to construct like the image in their brain? Because like you say, dude, where's your anarchy? Dude, where's your freedom? Despite what you've been told, it gets better every day. Like, what really gets better? I'm not sure what your thoughts about it. Does it make any difference, or?
Well, see, because this is for Americans, right? And you have to put yourself in that situation of being constantly bombarded with negativity, and the world's going to shit, and everybody's gonna die, and all that shit, right? And so going, hey, where's your anarchy? Where's your freedom? You know what I mean? It's like waking them up from that marasm of oppressive slime.
Just a clarification there. I would say we're probably about 50-50 Americans to other Westerners. And, you know, that possibly goes across the planet.
But at the same time, with the pandemic, there's been the oppression everywhere.
Well, I'm
And I-
sure most of them do follow the American elections.
Right. And I just think it's a good place to point out, just kind of reiterating the importance of knowing your audience and knowing who you're talking to. You know, we just talked a little bit ago about, you know, ways where you wouldn't really want to be too, I don't know, for lack of a better word, like soft in your openings, like, oh, you know, I just wanted to, I have this, I wanted to share with you something timid. Well, for example, one of the companies that I work with is called NVC Academy. So they do online nonviolent communication workshops, and I write promotional emails for them. It's really important with their audience that they're spoken to in a really warm, soft, inviting, personal type of feel. So everything is really, really soft. I'm so grateful for your support. There's just, you know, it's very, very different to like what we're looking at now. So I just wanted to remind you all to know who you're talking to.
Yeah, if it was for the Polish people, I would write, are you ready to get rid of the shackles the Catholic Church put upon you 1,000 years ago? And the Polish dude laughed, so that means it worked. 996. I'm sorry. Okay, moving on. So and the one thing that really is glaring is Mike's greatest flaw, and I'm sorry, Michael, but this is your greatest flaw. 1. What the fuck is with 1? Someone have any question? Anyone any question? Once one takes the time, it's all the same mistake. You keep making the same mistake. I'm like, dude, I love you, but dude. Who is this one? Do you know? Does anybody know this person? Because it's not me. Is it you, Kara? Do you know this person?
It feels too mythical. Yeah.
Mythical. It's a mythical. So we're writing to mythical people now. I'm sure they're going to click.
Well, it used to be you. I used to say you, and that
And why don't you?
pissed people off.
Why did
So
that
I
piss
went with
people off?
one.
What kind of a wall, like, sissy fucking anarchists are you dealing with that they can't handle you?
No, that is interesting though, Michael. I'm curious to hear a little bit more about that. You got specific feedback on that they didn't like you using you and speaking directly to them? Was it like assuming
Yes.
too much?
I think in a lot of cases it feels accusatory, I guess. At least that's kind of how it was explained to me, is like, you know, when it's dealing with kind of difficult subjects, like putting them as you in it makes it like
Are you sure you're
they're
not
part of
talking
it. I
about
don't
an
know.
argument, like a personal one? Like, because yeah, the word you perhaps could be avoided in a personal argument when I'm arguing with you and I'm like, that kind of an argument, don't use you. But in an email, you need to engage their inner self. So this is why in an argument it's bad, because you're engaging their self and they become defensive, right? Because it's accusatory in an argument. But I guess it depends how you're, like, if you presume things about me, like you're tired of this already, then I'd find it offensive, because I'd be like, fuck you, I'm not tired. And even if I was, I wouldn't tell you, screw you. You know what I mean? Like if it's like that, but it's like, but with this one, I wouldn't even say once you take the time to actually observe the circumstances. I would say, when
Or like taking the time to actually observe the circumstances clearly,
and bring new perspectives for you, can shed new light for you. You know what I mean? And it's soft, and it's not like saying you're an idiot. It's like, hey, if you take a look at this, maybe you have a new insight. You know, it softens it up.
Because like
need to engage them.
Like moving down a little bit, like where you say knowing one's true nature. Like I mean, and I'm curious in somebody else out there. So if someone said like knowing your true nature matters, I don't see that as an offensive. I think that's, you know, that's not presuming anything. That's yeah.
That's not putting words in my mouth.
Right. So, but
whether I thought of it or not. Yeah.
It's a good thing to keep in mind, because I do think it's important to be speaking directly to who you're talking to, but doing that also in a way where you're not presuming too much. You're not making these assumptions or, you know, poking them too much.
You sold me.
Cool.
What about something like a smart ass? Like once one takes time to actually observe the circumstances clearly, it feels kind of weird. Don't you think?
It feels condescending, doesn't it?
Like you're being smart.
Yeah, yeah, that's what condescending is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of what condescending is in Polish. I have to look.
This is why I don't write emails.
Condescending does not have a good translation in Polish. Don't even look it up because it's stupid. It doesn't actually mean that. I don't know. I don't know that word in Polish. Anyway.
Yeah, but I get it. No.
It seems weird. I've never heard it used in Polish. I mean, I know it, but it's weird. Anyway, moving on. Sorry, guys. Yeah. But and I'm confused about like acknowledging modern society is a con man's paradise. What does that mean? The acknowledgement is a con man, or or the acknowledgement is a paradise?
That
Yeah.
society is acknowledging that modern society is a con man's paradise.
But who is acknowledging it? Like, is this nebulous one acknowledging it?
Yes.
Is a mythical
one.
creature?
The one is acknowledging it. Yes.
And so do I acknowledge it or do I not acknowledge it? Like, I don't know
Yes.
what he's doing. Oh,
One has to acknowledge
who?
it.
Oh, so is this like acknowledging modern society as a con man's paradise?
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, is a step towards enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
Is a step out of the Plato's cave.
Yes, that's where this comes.
See,
to
but
an
that's a
end.
good sentence though for this kind of crowd. Acknowledging that modern society, or acknowledging modern society as a con man's paradise, is a step out of Plato's cave.
Well, but I say that down in the next sentence there.
Yeah, you do.
The light
But
out of the cave. Like
yeah,
Plato's
but they
cave.
don't know that it's Plato's cave. So if you see
Okay.
Plato's cave up there and then you bookend it with cave, then it's going to make sense psychologically.
I'm with you.
I wouldn't refer to the books as old. Old books does not land well with my heart.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like old books, but not in this context. So,
Well, I mean, that's right out of my experience. I mean, it's
so let's use a word.
100 years ago that everybody knew what was going on and there was a choice to be made and they made the wrong choice.
And that's a great sentence. Why isn't that sentence there? 100 years ago, everyone knew whatever. What did he say?
100 years ago, the old books demonstrated there was a choice to be made of whether we were going to remain in childhood or become adults, and we became children. We chose to be children. How about that?
How you kind of lost me on the last part. There.
To become adults.
Hang on. The second part was sucky anyways. Don't worry. It was choice to be made was the good part. Period.
Oh,
you know what? Let's make it.
Society made the wrong choice.
Yeah. And I would even stick that sentence after reading enough old books on human potential. I realized society made the wrong choice. I would combine it.
Like here?
After Plato's cave. And then.
What about great books or revered books or some
That's what
word
I was
other
getting
than
at earlier.
Yeah, old is like, I don't know, outdated. You know, it just, I don't. Sometimes it doesn't translate to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Decrepit. Did someone just say that, or did I hear it? I don't even know.
I said
Okay.
it. I'm the voice inside your head.
I'm
don't
tired.
you
I was
know?
up late last night for the lecture and the Q&A.
Even when I'm not on the
So,
phone with you, I'm the voice inside your head.
yeah, I mean, I think great books might play, but I don't know if I was just looking up synonyms,
Synonyms.
and all of the synonyms were like something I wouldn't say. I was like, they were ancient and this and that. I was like, not ancient doesn't quite roll either.
Right.
But
So I would take the end reading enough great books sentence, and I would change it to after reading enough great books on human potential. It's clear that society made the wrong choice. And then you can take the society made the wrong choice out from above. There is a better way. See? And take that first sentence out, the once one. Just put it down somewhere where I don't see it anymore. Oh no, I don't want to
Put
look
it down
at
there for now.
All right. Now that's a good editorial. Dude, what you've been told, it gets, despite what you've been told, it gets better. Yeah, that one. Despite what you've been told, it gets better every day. Acknowledging modern society as a con man's paradise is a step out of Plato's cave. 100 years ago, the revered books demonstrated there was a choice to be made. Yeah, the second sentence, that doesn't work. Maybe it does. Maybe there needs to be something between those two sentences. Maybe that thing he talked about being a child or being an adult. Because if you put a little buffer between revered books and great books, it'll make more sense. But right now it's two sentences with revered books and great books, and it doesn't really work for me. But the sentiment is good. The whole message is good because I feel.
Would it be like, too simple enough to like change this to like, oh crap, what did I just have? Like, I had a word and I lost it. I'm tired.
Society, people.
No, I was thinking something along the lines of like alliterations. Yeah, I lost it.
What about 100 years ago, people, and maybe even demonstrated is not right. Humanity realized there was a choice to be made, or humanity acknowledged that there was a choice to be made.
What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, what do you think, Mike?
I was actually trying to type to Daniel that we're on our way over there for the
Oh,
great book thing as soon as they, but
we're about
I'm
to
sorry,
wrap
what
up.
was the question?
Oh, poor Daniel. He's sitting there all by himself. We can work at it more later then.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was really surprised when I reviewed Macmillan's emails. The email that I sent to you was the worst one I could find because his emails were generally so freaking good that.
Ooh, that's good to know.
That they had no spam triggers. They were engaging. They were personal. They were clean. And so the reason this one got my attention is because, scroll down. Well, I don't know, his banner sucks, but I don't know about the images. I didn't load images on my end. I just looked, I just saw this. Now, what's wrong with this? Episode 33, Lisa Manfredi. First, if I don't know Lisa Manfredi, I'd like to know something more about her. The financial genius or the financial guide or the, whatever. I would like to know what she is. Second of all, it's one paragraph, it's a block. Mm-hmm. And I know that, episode 33, at the top, maybe, wasting the 2 seconds, but these people are expecting that. They're expecting an episode, they're expecting the title of the episode. So the best you can do to engage them at that end is to write it, episode 33, but then make the title of the episode really, really engaging, like diving deep into finance with Lisa Manfredi, or exploring your financial possibilities, or protecting you from the banks, or, because these are anarchists too, that the target audience for Chris, protecting you from the banks, the hero of the people, Lisa Manfredi. You know, that would get people to be engaged, like, oh, the hero of the people. Oh, cool. You know what I mean? And whereas Lisa Manfredi by itself, unless you know the name and you know the magic that she has, you'd be like, oh, okay, some Lisa lady. Oh, I think that was Richard's wife, Lisa Manfredi, right? Anyway,
Isn't that
yeah?
yeah? Isn't that email too blocking? I thought it's now better to make it more.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. So yeah, I would split it up. I kind of like splitting it up more towards the Sabi Subi way, where it's like one line per line, and then I bold like 1 or 2 lines. And I know that still looks commercial, but this is obviously a commercial email because. And the other thing, scroll up a little bit. It's if you're going to be using 2 images at the top in this setting, one beside the other, make sure the images are the same dimension. Like, you know what I mean? The same shape and size, even if that means putting like a frame around your picture with Lisa or whatever. But if this one is 2 by 3, this one needs to be 2 by 3 too. And that way it looks good. Otherwise it looks, well, and also your banner, how we cannot see your banner and it just says half the word conduit. That's also looks very amateurish.
My banner is awesome. I accept.
If I could see it, I would love it, but I can't see it. You need to add a banner of smaller dimensions. Like look up what the best banner size for email is and then save your banner in that size and then stick that in there because that would be effective. There's nothing wrong with your banner. There's something wrong with how you delivered this one. Yeah, Ludwig?
It's nothing wrong with the banner beside it's kind of blurred. It kind of looks not so good.
It's supposed to be blurred if you saw the whole thing. It's cool, but the thing is, it's a lot bigger banner than what you can see. We can only see like a quarter of it.
And there's an entire word missing.
Yeah, there are words
supposed to be a truth conduit.
Yeah, there's a whole thing. And then that conduit is supposed to be like typed on a typewriter. So it's supposed to be a little fuzzy, but it looks way worse when it's zoomed in like that in my face than when it's like actually in the tiny banner. So that's the thing with images there. And yeah, that whole paragraph needs to be broken up into sentences. Sign up as a spam trigger. That's pretty much it. And the other thing that I didn't like about this email is like Lisa gives lectures on the topic in the autonomy class. Like that's breaking that do not be professional rule. You had such a nice friendly email and then Lisa gives lectures and then your whole voice changes when you go into that sentence.
Let me try it. Lisa gives lectures on the topic in the autonomy class. Is that like that?
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like, yes. Yeah. So you start off with Macmillan. It's one of the most open secrets you never learned about. And then you get to that sentence. It's Lisa. It doesn't work.
Well, this has been very, very informative, Agnieszka. I have learned a lot today. Some things I didn't know, but
last time we covered deliverability.
We didn't cover it like this, though.
Not
in this extent. No. Well, this has been wonderful.
Words are swords. Make them count, right? You're throwing punches, or you got to hit your target.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it was relaxing, like taking shit on somebody else's email.
That's what we do.
That's good. We have our next reviewer in the works right there, Mr. Ludwig Lisowski.
Excellent.
He's going to be tearing people's writing apart in no time.
Awesome. We do it with love, though. We do it all with love.
He was doing it with love. He's just Polish. You guys know what Polish people are like.
I didn't say you weren't doing it with love. It was just a general statement.
This has been fun. I like being a wallflower in some of these meetings.
We have fun.
You participated. I like you. Anyway, it's all
Sorry,
good.
Agnieszka. Clinic.
All right.
Krista
Well,
said, don't beat me. Clinic.
I know the Great Books Club club is starting, so I'm going to go ahead and let us wrap up. And I appreciate everybody being here. This is wonderful. I feel more energized now than when we started. So, hey.
Well, have a good Saturday, Kara.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.